The possibility of a peace deal to end the war in Ukraine has recently re-emerged as a major topic of international diplomacy, driven by a new proposed peace framework put forward by the United States. However, a formal agreement remains highly complex due to disagreements on fundamental issues, primarily territorial sovereignty and Ukraine's future security status. Let's talk more about this with Ukraine's ambassador to South Africa, Olexander Scherba. A very good afternoon to you, Ambassador. Thank you very much for your time. What can you tell us about this framework or proposal that has been put on the table?
Well, obviously, it is time to talk peace. It is time to talk ceasefire. The front line hasn't been moving one side or another for the last 3 years. In the last 3 years, Russia has lost in Ukraine too. Both sides have lost a lot of manpower for what? For Russia occupying 1% of Ukrainian territory. We suggested, therefore, and it was a very painful decision for President Zelensky, let's stop fighting along the current front line. And that this seems like a reasonable and reasonable solution and the basis for future, for negotiations. If Russia decide that started this war wants to end it, it will end, and the solution will be based on what we have suggested, because that's the obvious way forward.
Now, following a ceasefire is your country's demand that Russia should move out of Ukrainian territory. Is that a precondition?
No, we don't put any preconditions. We say, let's stop fighting along the current front line and start negotiating peace. This is the suggestion coming from the President Zelensky.
Any timelines?
Well, we can start it now. Hopefully, we will start it very soon based on what is being negotiated between Ukraine and the United States in Switzerland. Now, there is only one wish on our side. We won't be meeting with the Russian side in Moscow or in their closest ally, which would be Minsk. Other than that, there are no preconditions. Aside from really, we need a ceasefire, we need to stop fighting, we need to stop the bloodshed.
Where are you proposing? What are you proposing as the venue for a meeting if you're not keen to meet in Moscow or in Russian territory?
There is such a great variety of possibilities. Everybody wants to go into history as the place where the bloodiest European war since World War II ends, and everybody wants to be that venue. Whether it will be Austria or Switzerland or United Arab Emirates or South Africa, I think all are viable options.
Okay. You don't have a particular preference as a country?
It's not, quite frankly, really relevant at this point. We in Ukraine, we want finally not to go to bed with trying to figure out whose home will be hit next and whose family won't see the light of the day next day. So if the agreement will be achieved in United Arab Emirates, good. If it's South Africa, even better. Most important thing, we need to finally bring a stop to it.
Do we know when the next follow-up meeting is going to be following the weekend one?
Right now, there are so many contradicting, reports. There was a report that United States expect as a decision by the Thanksgiving, which would mean Thursday this week. This morning, all of a sudden, it wasn't the expectation anymore. Yesterday, there were tougher, demands on Ukraine. This morning, we see that demands are different. So everything is changing. Quite frankly, I'm not authorized to make any official statements aside from we want peace.
Okay. Can I ask you something about, I don't know whether you know anything about this group of South Africans who it's now been alleged they got to fight against Ukraine, and they were lured by people under false pretenses and against their will. Do you know anything about it?
Well, when the news broke, of course, I spent hours on the telephone calling all my friends with armed forces of Ukraine, trying to figure out what's happening. And I found out that, of course, there is no such group on our side, which means that that would be the group on fighting for Russia. And in the following days, this suspicion of mine, of course, was confirmed, unfortunately. There are these people who were lured under participation of some South African rather prominent people, lured against the law in South Africa to fight in this war of aggression against Ukraine. It's highly regrettable. And I am in touch with one of the families. I wrote an email to them, and I suggested to them, let's figure out. Of course, it's highly regrettable for me as ambassador of Ukraine that your family members decided to fight in this war against my country, but I feel your pain, and let's try to figure out how to make sure that no such situations will occur in the future.
Have you received any responses yet from that family that you contacted?
Not yet.
Ambassador Scherba, let me thank you very much for your time. Ukraine's ambassador to South Africa, giving us an update on the situation there, following reports that the framework has been negotiated, but not much information by way of what exactly is on the table. But as far as the ambassador is concerned, cessation of hostilities, peace, though the fighting must stop first, and of course, flowing from there, then the two parties can talk about what to do next.